Hi. I've recently been talking about what happens when your third eye opens, but I feel that I haven't really done it justice. It's probably due to the fact it happened, several years ago now. So I've probably forgot a lot of the actual occurrences and how they big it up out there in the online community, should I say. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking, researching, what people say happens, and then I'll base my experiences from that. I think is probably the best way to do it, and then I'm more likely to answer the questions that you probably have in mind because you'll also have researched similar information. So yeah, so it's talking about third eye being an intuitive center by bringing our higher self and our conscious self together to make us all knowing. I have, I suppose, maybe sounded a little bit negative about the whole process from if you've listened to the earlier videos, only because they kind of leave out. Yes, they talk about the higher self. Yes, they talk about the conscious self, but they neglect the emotional self, which is a big component of who we are, especially from naught to 16 years of age. That's a big chunk of our lives that has been under the influence of other people. So it hasn't been under our own sphere of influence. So yeah, we're binding our higher self and our conscious self, but we haven't always had direct input into parts of ourselves. So yeah, that part they neglect to mention. And also we may have had a really great childhood, but some people may not have. So that also needs to be taken into consideration when they talk about opening the third eye. Yeah, so you can be bringing along with you a whole host of unhealed, unbalanced energy fields into this third eye experience. Um, and don't think the third eye is going to be, I won't bother with that. I'll just concentrate on the conscious and the spiritual aspects. No, it's going to look at everything. In fact, it's going to beam its way to all the yucky stuff that you haven't dealt with. It's going to make a beeline for that first before it even goes anywhere else. So yeah, be aware of that. Um, so yeah, it's talking about when you open your third eye, you become aware of the field of energy. Yeah, so if they're talking about you don't get to sleep for like weeks on end because your energy field is kind of out of whack, out of balance. Um, yeah, and then you realise you're more than just who you are as a personality, as a character, as an individual, that you belong to a bigger frame of consciousness. So yeah, that is correct. And that we can access planes of higher consciousness. Yes, we can, but if we're not grounded in ourselves, if we're not balanced and have work, if those emotional issues are easily triggered, should I say, if you can be easily triggered, or maybe you've got repressed memories that you have no knowledge of. Now that's the real big one. Um, this opening the third eye can then trigger that, bring about a flood of experiences, thoughts, visions, feelings, maybe that you have no idea what they are because you've blocked it out or you've repressed it, or so yeah, they don't talk about that either. And these things do happen. That's why there are a number of people who, when they spiritually awake, suffer, mental breakdowns, or so it's you need to really have a support network in terms of who can you go to for mental health, who could you talk to for emotional issues. Definitely have those to hand, so that if you do need that, or a therapy group or something, that you can access it and not be, a deer stuck in headlights thinking, what the hell's going on? I'm losing my mind, or, because it can be. If you've watched the film Jacob's Ladder, yeah, all those movies about Vietnam and all the post-traumatic stress and all the psychological after effects. Yeah, it's serious stuff. This third eye energy. I liken it to those examples. So yeah. I also used to hear about when I started researching what all this was about. They talked about itching, skin itching, and heat, rushes of heat, and stuff like that. Seeing dots, and yeah, those things do happen, and they come along and go away, come along, and go away again. So, and this goes on for several weeks. At least 2-3 months of this stuff is going on. So you gotta go to work the next morning. I myself, I was working at the time when it all happened. Luckily, I was part-time, but yeah, it still wasn't easy at all. I had, in the end, luckily I was on a temporary contract, so I got to, which was up for completion at the time, a couple of months later. So luckily I was then able to focus on all the issues that started to come up. So yeah, they talk about you can access a plane of higher consciousness with your guardian angels and your spirit guides and your ascended masters. No. I mean, if you are already in tune to your own higher, what can I call it, your own spiritual teacher, then yes, you probably can do that. Are more aware and knowledgeable of what that entails. But if you don't have any kind of spiritual background, or even religious background, or a strong sense of who you are spiritually, I'm guessing you're going to have difficulties. So yeah, a lot of reading I would advise, so that you can figure it out for yourself. It is like a detective game, so you have to be a seeker of knowledge to make your way through all of this, and also be able to be at peace with yourself. If you're easily triggered, as I say, you're easily anxious, I wouldn't suggest you try it. Not until you've worked on those issues. As I say, it will magnify whatever your issue is times 10. I'm going to have to leave it here for now, but I'll take this up again hopefully later on or tomorrow. So thanks for listening.